Hola familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As you guys can see from the title, today I am doing 6 more eyeshadow palettes that I currently own in my collection that if they were released today in the market, I would have not spent my money on these at all. Now I will say I do own them, so that obviously I still have them in here. I have been wanting to do a declutter of my eyeshadow palettes, but I have been running into an issue with that, and that's why some of these are still in my collection, and if they stay in my collection until either they die or I use them up, it is what it is. But I have learned that certain kind of palettes I no longer even want to purchase because I have so many of them in my collection, and I rarely reach for them at this point in my life. But that doesn't mean I might not reach for them later on as I get older, as my tastes change. So I always have that thought in my head that I don't want to get rid of too much and then having to repurchase them years later in a different brand, different packaging, because my tastes have changed when I already had them already in my collection. That makes any sense. So I have 6 palettes here. Maybe 2 are still available in the market, you guys. The rest I am pretty sure are not available anymore. But I wanted to share them with you because I am sure that most of us have palettes in our collection that we do like, that we did like in the past, that we enjoyed, bought for the hype, and then never ended up using them or loved them, but now wouldn't really think about getting them if they were released. So we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome to La Familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash about Japan. That is something that interests you. Subscribe, join us. And now without further ado, let's get on with the 6 palettes. So let's get right into it. These are in no particular order as usual. The first palette that if this was released today, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't even think about it twice, truthfully. I don't regret any of these. I'm gonna put it out there. I do not regret any of these because at some point or another I did enjoy them, and when I opened these up, I still like them. It's just I haven't been reaching for them because of the fact that I'm not into them as much right now, but they do have their occasion. The Huda Warm Browns. This one's one of the first ones that she ever picked up. And I got it because not so much that it was a neutral palette, but it was like a deeper, more rich based palette. This is like a neutral palette for somebody who is very deep dark skin tone. If you have very deep dark skin tone and the neutral palettes you see out are way too light for you, this one was a really, really good one. Not sure if it's still available. If it is, I think that it is a good one for you to have if you want a neutral palette but you want it to show up on your deep dark skin. I still like this one. I still reach for it. I think it's been less than a year since I reached for it, so it hasn't been over a year since I haven't touched it. So I still have played with it. It's just if I see it now, I'm not reaching for this. I'm not gonna buy it. If I saw it now, I'd be like, I have plenty of those colors in my collection. I don't need it. I think the formula is decent on Huda's brand. She does have nice formula. It is powdery, but it is very pigmented, and I like to work with them. They are easy to work with, but I wouldn't buy this if I saw this today. I'll tell you that right now. I would not, but I don't regret it. Here's another one that I definitely would not have purchased if I saw it today, and this is from Tarte. This is the Tartiest Pro, the very first one they ever came out with. This is a palette that I have used quite a bit, but you really can't tell because Tarte's eyeshadow formula is so densely packed like Too Faced or mattes that you really can't tell. But I have used this. I have used this on brides. I have used it on myself. I've even used it on my sister for special occasions. It's a beautiful formula to work with. Has that chocolatey smell. It still works perfectly fine. But if I saw this on the market today, I would not buy it. I would not purchase it. I wouldn't even care to get it. This is all mattes, and then you get 4 of these shimmers on the side. These colors are just not some... I'll tell you what, this is what I'll say about this palette. This palette is actually one of the more colorful palettes that Tarte has come out with in recent years because they tend to do a lot more of a monotone, very subdued color stories, whether they pick all mauves or browns or rich warm shades, but they really don't do these dark, deeper shades, this pinky shade, this burgundy shade. Like they really don't do these. No, this is not burgundy, Alex. This is emerald. But they really don't do these kind of color stories as often. So this is something that would have caught my attention, but I would have known better not to get it because I already could dupe this over and over and over in my collection and wouldn't really need a large palette of this size to achieve that. So I do like this one still, and that's why it hasn't been decluttered, but I wouldn't buy it if I saw it today. Here's one that I fell for the hype, and I do love their formula as far as their eyeshadows, so I don't regret it. But I regret the fact that I fell for the big packaging, and you learn. This is what happens. You live, you learn, you try things out, you realize you don't like it, so you stop. Most of us stop. And that's what happened with me with large palettes. I realized that large palettes were just not my thing, and this is one of them. This is the Smashbox Masterclass palette. This is color and contour. This is one of their first ones they ever purchased, and I bought this mainly for my makeup kit, so I don't regret it, you guys. But this is what it looks like here, and you could pull these out, which I do appreciate. So I was able to pull these out and travel with these, and you lift these up, you get blushes down at the bottom, you get some contours at the bottom, and then all of these eyeshadows. Now, I do love Smashbox. Well, I should say I did like Smashbox's formula back in the day, a few years ago. I haven't purchased any new Smashbox eyeshadows to see if they're still the same, but they were great quality. This is all in one. You get blushes, contour, highlighting, and eyeshadows. And if you need a deeper, darker skin, there was such an array of shadows in here that I can work with it with other different skin tones. So I don't 100% regret this, but after they came out with these a few years, I realized I don't like, this is super heavy. This is super heavy, super bulky. These, I own one of 3 of these. Yes, I purchased 3 of these. They take up basically almost half of a large drawer of my drawers that I own, because these are so big and thick. And that's one of the regrets that I have of these. They're just so bulky. I have been contemplating on decluttering these, but again, and I'll explain to you guys why I haven't decluttered some of these, or why I'm holding off, not because I'm trying to hoard or because I just can't let go, because I can let go. I'll explain to you why, but this is one of those palettes that I wouldn't buy now. Absolutely 110% wouldn't even bat an eye, wouldn't even look to see what's inside of it, because I would not. This is just way too thick, way too big for my liking. Said no one. All right, so this one is another one. This one, I do like the color. So this is the Pure Festival palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm, so I kind of paid for it, but didn't pay for it, just buying it randomly. I wouldn't buy this if I saw this now. One, because of the pressed glitters. This is where the pressed glitters started. This is the era where pressed glitters started to happen. But it's mainly a bunch of warm terracotta shades with 2 pops of colors. And I'm not for the pop of color palettes anymore. I have plenty of those. If I want a pop of color, I have enough singles to allow myself to have a pop of color. It's either, I go either all neutral or I go all colorful. It's one or the other. I don't do this anymore. It's just, for me, it's not worth it. It's one side or the other. I've always told you guys, I'm very black and white with a lot of things in my life. It's either all or nothing. Very rarely you hear me say that there's a gray area. I'm very blunt to the point, and that's how I am now with my eyeshadows. It's either all neutral or all colorful. Give me one or the other. Don't do this to me anymore. So this is not something I would have picked up nowadays. Absolutely not. For 2 main reasons: the glitter and the pops of colors. Not my jam. Not my thing nowadays. I don't regret having this because I do use this from time to time, specifically in the summertime. So I don't regret it. And this is something that really goes nicely with my skin tone when I do have a tan. It really makes me look more alive, more sultry, that summer beach vibe kind of thing. So I don't mind it. It's just I wouldn't have gotten this year. If this would have came out as a summer release, absolutely not. 2 more palettes, and we're throwing these back old school because they no longer exist, you guys. The first one that I would not get if I saw was this one from Colourpop. This is the I Think I Love You. This is one of the first palettes, if not the, I bought this one with the Yes Please. So it was right when the Yes Please had been released, and I'm talking about 2014-ish, around there. This palette I wouldn't buy if I saw it today. Absolutely not. Now this one, this is the palette that made me fall in love with Colourpop's formula and their whole entire concept of these. Because you can pop these out, they're magnetic, you can rearrange them, you can pull things out, bring them in. I love that, and I love the formula of these. This is where Colourpop was good. It was good. My black kind of shattered it a little bit there, but that's okay. And this black is actually pretty darn good. I'm not gonna lie to you. That black is good. If I saw Colourpop pull this out right nowadays, which I am pretty sure you guys are probably like, oh, that color story looks similar to one of the palettes that they have released recently. Yes, because it probably is, you guys. This is not something I would have bought nowadays. I love this one. Don't get me wrong. I do really like this one, and I have pulled this out recently last last summer to just wear for a neutral. This is a beautiful shade down here that gives you a nice pop. This bright one, terracotta, burgundy, reddish coppery shade. I really like this palette, and I remember gifting it to my friend Drea. I believe that was one of the first Colourpop things that I ever bought her, was this palette, and we both really enjoy it. There was nothing wrong with this palette, but if I saw it today, which I'm pretty sure, like I said, we've seen this over and over in Colourpop, I wouldn't have bought it. I would have skipped out on it. I would have said no thank you. It's too much redundant over and over, and I already have enough of that. Last but not least is a palette that I genuinely enjoy. I really like, and I love the concept of it, but would I have bought it if I saw it today? No, no, and no. You guys, this is a true throwback, and I'm not getting rid of it. It still works perfectly fine. I still pull this out to wear. Don't judge me, but it is a really good one, and I'm happy I have it because I bought it when it was fun and exciting to me, and it came in handy. And I'm starting to see that maybe I might want to pan some of it because I do like it and I don't want it to go bad, and it still works amazing, just like when I first purchased it. That is the LORAC Pro To Go. You guys remember this one where it was magnetic, where you opened it up here, and the one side was the eyeshadows. Look at these 6 eyeshadows, you guys. Simple to the point. This I could just do a simple look, or I can make it sultry and dramatic with that black. I got 2 of these beautiful shimmer shade, the top row is shimmer, and then the bottom row is all mattes, and they complement each other. Worked great. And then the other side, you guys remember, it brought the bronzer and 2 blushes. Do you remember this one? Everyone raved about this one. I do not want to get rid of this. I never want to get rid of this. I actually want to use this up as much as possible because I find the formula of this really, really good. I really like this palette. I think it came in handy. And I can see myself reaching for this again when I don't really want to think about my eye looks, or I just want something super simple and I don't have to think about 20 different shadows in a palette. This is simplicity. This is easy to the point, and I just have this in the back. I can even use those blushes and bronzers as eyeshadows as well. So this was like a multitasking type of palette. I will never get rid of this. This is not something I plan on wanting to get rid of. That made any sense? But I don't. It's just, if I saw this today, no, I wouldn't have bought it. I would not even look at it. I would have been like, yeah, that's pretty, it's cute, but I could do that with singles. I could just make my own Z palette out of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I would justify not buying this one, and I'd be okay. I wouldn't lose sleep over it. But I do have it, and I really like this one. I know, right? I'm telling you, I'm a neutral lover at heart as well, and this one was something that just brings back happy memories. It brings back happy memories. It brings back my youth in my 20s when I bought this, and I was a young mom, you know, I didn't have a lot, and this was just something fun for me, and I really do like this one. I just wouldn't buy it now. All right, you guys, so these are the 6 more palettes. I've done this before. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I have done this video before. I'll link it up in the iCard so you can see the first 6 palettes that I still own in my collection, I'm pretty sure. No, some of them I think have left already, but I would not buy if I saw them today. These are 6 eyeshadow palettes that I would not buy if I saw them out in the market today, being sold as something new and exciting and innovative. No, I would not even bat an eye on these. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Let me get off of here because I've already been talking way too long. I'll put more videos right over here for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.